Hello everyone, my name is Allison Gagnon. I teach at UNC School of the Arts, and my thing is collaborative piano. So as a pianist, I don't know if you've heard that term yet. It's the current word or expression that we use for piano accompanying or pianists who play with other people. And I started really early doing that. In my family, I had people who liked to sing and play instruments. So I was pretty small when I first started to accompany. But that's not true for everybody. I kind of wish it were. But my goal in life, I think, with my young musician friends is to introduce pianists to the joy of playing with other people and also how that affects how you play by yourself. So today I'd just like to use one little example of Schumann to tell you about a concept I call musical texture. That's about the different layers in the music and deciding kind of who has what the different priorities are. Now, as pianists playing solo music that's written just for the piano, we have all the layers that we get to deal with, so we don't have to share it with anybody, but it's kind of important to allow ourselves to understand where the primary line is and how the rest of the texture fits with that, so that we get a really pleasing projection of the musical ideas that the composer has. So this is the little example I chose. It's the first of the Kinderszenen, the Scenes of Childhood by Robert Schumann. And it has what I think is a classic musical texture. It has a primary line on the top. It has a pretty interesting bass line that provides the harmonic foundation and the rhythm of the phrase. And then there's a layer in the middle of triplet eighth notes. So it sounds like this. So my goal in playing this is to make a really beautiful connected top primary line to support nicely with the resonance of the bass and to let the triplets be energetic and have some flow to them, but not to ever intrude on either of the others. So as a pianist, there are a couple of technical things to be aware of. One is that my right hand is playing the primary line, but it's also playing the last of the triplet notes. So this triplet line here, I'm playing the last note. And anybody who's done any piano study will know that the thumb can very easily get accented. So you may have the idea that you have to be careful not to put too much weight on your thumb, but there's a really good reason here. It's so that the texture can be clear, that we can keep the triplets separate from the main line. And just a note to sort of why in our human hand that can be an issue. Our thumb wants to move like this with the rest of our hand, rather than like a finger like this, without the weight of the rest of our hand. So we have to train it as pianists to do this and not do that. I mean, there are places where we can use that, but not here. So that's one consideration that helps us to make the texture clear. And then in the left hand, I want to give enough sound on the bass line that will complement the top. And then I find a place right down the middle to put the triplets. So from a piano standpoint, if you're playing a solo piece, I really love to think of how the music is put together in lines. The rest of the musical world always thinks in lines. You know, all of our instrumental colleagues, our singers, if they're in orchestra or choir, they're thinking of the different lines. And so I think pianists can learn a lot from them to do that. And then I think it's a wonderful bridge into playing with other people. That's something we do here at school, that we have an introductory class as soon as students are with us, especially in college, sometimes in high school also, that they join my intro class, and then they learn about sharing the music. So letting one of their instrumental or vocal partners be on stage with them, and there's lots and lots of music that we can share. So this particular piece of Schumann could very easily have been a piece by him with oboe and piano or voice and piano. And we learn things about how to adjust the levels of the different layers so the parts sound good together. Now, I won't go into a lot of that right now, but I will just mention one particular thing, and that is that our right hands are so accustomed in our solo training to projecting the line, but if this were arranged for a solo partner with piano, we wouldn't get to play the melody, so we'd be playing probably our right hand has to learn to go from being number 1 some of the time to like number 3 some of the time. So at first it's a tough sell, but eventually you can get it. And the other thing is that the left hand usually becomes more important because it's providing bass for my right hand, plus it's providing bass for the melody instrument. So that's a little introduction into the idea of musical texture if you're a piano player, and especially just an opening of the door towards collaborative playing and sharing the music. Thanks for listening.